Well, welcome to the Botanical Medicine Study course with me, your host and instructor, Stephanie Georgiev. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with me. At the time of the posting of this video, we are in Women's History Month. For most of human history, it really was the women that carried the plant medicine tradition. We will be continuing our exploration of healing plants that help women in all phases of their lives. And note, herbs aren't specifically for one gender, but these herbs that we've been exploring are ones that have been traditionally used to help women in different aspects of their lives. So for this week's Herb of the Week, we're going to explore an herb that has a lot of use in many different traditions, and it's also quite delicious, but it's an herb that has a quality of a herbal action that I absolutely love, and it's called fenugreek. So a lot of you cooks out there know what you've employed this in your lovely curries. And there's all sorts of different ways to use this herb, but we're going to focus in on some of the aspects that are really good for women. Now, fenugreek is also called Trigonella phoenum gracium. And this is an annual plant in the family Fabaceae, with leaves consisting of three small ovate to oblong leaflets. You can see this both in the background slide as well as this lovely vintage botanical picture. And it's believed to have been brought into cultivation in the Near East. It's uncertain which wild strain of Trigonella gave rise to this domesticated fenugreek. We have found charred fenugreek seeds uh, from an area called Tel Halal in Iraq, and these were carbon dated to 4000 BC. And we've also found substances and seeds uh, in the tomb of Tutankhamun. Now, Cato the Elder lists fenugreek with clover and vetch as crops to feed cattle. So these are some things that have obviously been used for a while. Now, in one first century recipe, the Romans flavored wine with fenugreek. And in the first century AD in Galilee, fenugreek was grown as a staple food, as Josephus mentions it in his book, The Wars of the Jews. And there are other mentions in very ancient texts. So this has been around for a while in terms of use. Now, the modern applications, there are all kinds of applications. And if you see the word carminative, that basically means that it helps digestion. So most of the herbs and spices that we use in cooking are actually carminatives. When I used to teach publicly and would do special medieval gatherings, I would always say, which was really fun in these medieval herbals, they would say that it healed the wicked winds, which is a very delicate medieval way to say flatulence. In those old castles with no windows, you can see why wanting to heal those wicked winds was a priority. Uh, Fenugreek, again, is a gastric stimulant. It helps get those juices flowing in the digestive system. It also helps even out blood sugar, so it's anti-diabetic. And here's the word I absolutely love. It's called galactagogue, and that's something that stimulates milk production in lactating women. It helps even out your cholesterol, your blood fats. It's got antioxidant properties. It also helps protect the liver anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antifungal, has some anti-ulcer capacities. It also helps you not to produce um, kidney stones. And there's some new promising research that it says it helps to prevent cancer. Now, for Women's History Month, we just want to highlight that in all medical traditions that I'm familiar with, the fenugreek is used as a galactagogue and also as a postpartum tonic. It stimulates estrogen production in people. It's not a hormonal herb, but it does stimulate estrogenic production in the body, which means it increases milk production. And it also increases milk secretion. So you want to do both if you're breastfeeding. Now, there's all kinds of chemical constituents in fenugreek. They're just all over the place. And all of these herbs or all of these constituents are the reasons why fenugreek has the effects that it does. The big ones are the alkaloids, which work on the nervous system, and the saponins, which really help with all sorts of hormonal balancing, etc. And then the flavonoids, things like quercetin. There also is fiber in there, but the flavonoids are the ones that have all those anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer and antibacterial properties. So there's a lot of wonderful constituents in fenugreek that stimulate all of those neat actions that we so enjoy. Now, in Ayurveda, it's called methi, and I have the Ayurveda glyph there for you. I'm not into Hindi, but it's fun on Google Translate what you can get your Google Translate to tell you what things look like. So if you ever go to any place where they speak Hindi and you want some fenugreek and you can't recognize the seeds or they're in a package where you can't see them, here's your glyph. Now, in Ayurveda, fenugreek or methi is considered a grounding herb whose sweet taste helps balance the vata dosha. And it also has warm, sweet, and bitter. It balances the vata, it balances kapha. And because it's warming, if you're more of a pitta person, this isn't a great herb for you to use medicinally or even eat on a regular basis. But in Ayurveda, it's used for digestion and skin. They also use it as a paste or a poultice to help soothe sore, stiff, or swollen joints. And it's, basically an ingredient in many very delicious foods from this part of the world. Now, in Chinese medicine, it's called Hu La Ba, and there's your Chinese characters, and this is considered bitter and warm. It enters the kidney and liver meridians, and it's used to warm the kidneys. Now, what's so interesting is in Chinese medical theory, the organs that are really involved in Chinese medicine theory are the kidneys. And the kidney meridian and kidney issues in Chinese medicine also include the endocrine glands. And if you are pregnant or you give birth, if you do both, this is very draining on your kidneys. And that's why they have all sorts of special tonics and soups to give women right after they give birth. And this is also your kidneys are involved in lactation. So this bitter, warm seed is really good for warming you up. dispersing damp and cold, but it also increases lactation. And also in Chinese medical theory, if you're really cold, according to this theory, this helps your organs kind of fall out of where they should be. And so anything warm is really good for help with hernias, any type of hernia. And this is used in formulas for all kinds of things, abdominal distension, cold hernias, anything to do with cold damp accumulation. And cold damp accumulation is basically very descriptive of most ways of diagnosing arthritic pains. And I'm not clear if they use this as a poultice in Chinese medicine, but it makes sense that in Ayurveda, this is what they use as a poultice for sore joints. Now, fenugreek is commonly consumed in foods, and we see this a lot in the Ayurvedic and the traditional Chinese medicine way of dealing with illnesses. And so you get food prescriptions, which often include all sorts of different herbs. And it's quite delicious. I enjoy incorporating it in many different things that I like to eat. Um, but it's very safe. You know, not all of herbs I cover or research or study, they usually have a lot of contraindications or cautions. And I don't know who did this study, but they said you can take this for up to 3 years. I don't know what happens after 3 years, but obviously this herb is consumed in great quantities over large swaths of the planet. And I'm sure they've been eating this individually for longer than 3 years. So there really is not a lot of cautions or contraindications for this. Some of the side effects, maybe you might want to ease off if you're experiencing diarrhea or stomach upset, gas, things like that. And you can take it in a tea, in your food, in capsules, if you like, or as a tincture. Another way to take fenugreek, which is really quite lovely, is with essential oils. And you can use this in a diffuser to scent your environment. You can also take it topically. It's very safe topically and also internally. Now, it's always a good idea to do a little patch test if you're using it topically. Let's say you want to rub it on an acupuncture point or on the skin for skin disorders. Do a little patch test like on your wrists or something to make sure this doesn't make you break out. But from everything that I'm reading and also my personal use, and clinical use, it's a pretty gentle herb, even as an essential oil. Its warm, woody scent goes really well with sandalwood and other soothing essential oils, just if you want to calm down your environment. It's very good at soothing inflamed skins. You can add this to massage oil. It can help calm your skin. It also eases pains and swelling. It's wonderful to just, if you don't want to boil the tea, you can just put a couple drops in some warm water and drink it out. There are some studies that say that a fenugreek essential oil in massage or baths will enhance exercise performance. Um, Again, it's really good for breast milk production. It's really good to use that. So you can put that in your baths if you're breastfeeding, or put if you don't want to eat it or boil it in tea, you can just put a couple drops in a teaspoon of honey, or put it in some water and drink it down. It's also really good to mix this oil with some coconut oil and massage it into your scalp if you're suffering from dandruff and if you have dry hair. You can rinse it out and then do things like you normally do with your hair, but it's really good for that. And It's really good at easing nervous tension. So again, in a bath or a diffuser, it's very nice. Now, fenugreek is used pretty universally in different types of dishes. It's in Ayurvedic, in Indian, in Arabic dishes, in Chinese dishes. It's often used in different spice mixtures for curries or masalas. And Indian chefs recommend soaking the seeds overnight, and then you can ground them up and add them to whatever it is that you're cooking. Another way to cook with fenugreek is to toast the seeds before adding them to the dish. And so, for those of you who do cook like this, you know there's usually a whole bunch of spices, like clove and cardamom and fenugreek. Um, and you just toast those in a hot, dry dish. And then you take the toasted spices out, and then you cook everything like you are instructed, depending on what that is. You add the oils and then the whatever you're cooking, and then you add the spices back in after they've been toasted at the end. So it's really delicious. And of course, as usual, I have some wonderful links in the program notes on how to cook with fenugreek. Now, growing fenugreek is very easy. And because it's from the Fabaceae family, which is basically the pea family, uh, fenugreek is a really good crop that helps to fix nitrogen in the soil. And it's really good for plant growth. So this is a wonderful thing to do on a garden bed that you're kind of letting lay dormant for a season. You plant some fenugreek. And it's also good as companion plants in your garden. It's quite beautiful, I think. And there's also, this is good. Let's say if you've moved into a new place and the garden is not the best soil ever. This is a good plant to grow for a couple seasons before you really start in earnest in terms of planning your garden. Now, I've never grown this plant personally, but it seems to me from everything that I've been reading that it's a really good, excuse me, plant to grow in a garden or a container garden. And some types of cuisine actually call for the fenugreek leaf. So it might be a nice thing to throw in salads. So there you go. So, however you wish to incorporate this wonderful plant into your life, if you want to use it as a medicine or a garden soil enhancer, a beautiful plant in general, or to enjoy its many, many delicious additions and numerous types of cuisines, I hope you come to appreciate this wonderful plant that is so lovely for breastfeeding moms, uh, that this is a really lovely gift from nature. So this is Stephanie Georgia saying thank you so much for sharing your valuable time with me. Make sure to check the links out in the program notes. And until next time, be well.